Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome us this morning to the 2020 Fellowship Investiture of the most revered institute, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Shall we please remain standing as we take the national anthem? The national anthem, please. Here, anthem, please.
Our Father and our God, we want to thank you for this special occasion today. We want to thank you for your grace. We want to thank you for your provision in diverse way. We want to thank you for making this a reality in our lifetime. We want to thank you for our nation because it's in an atmosphere of peace that events like this can take place. We want to thank you, Lord, for Children's Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, for making them a special institute, even in this era that we have found ourselves. We want to thank you for all the awardees today, because it has pleased you for this honor to be bestowed to them on this special occasion. We thank you, Lord, that as this authority and power has been bestowed upon them, we pray, Lord, they will remain to be a goodwill ambassador of this Grace Institute in Jesus' name. We want to pray for our institute and the leadership under our president and chairman of council, Dr. Ken Okpara, that the wisdom, and the knowledge that is required for us to continue to open a new vista of development in our ecosystem, you will joy like this we never cease in their home in Jesus' name. We want to thank you once again for the option time for CIBN, because CIBN will remain great in Jesus' name. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, may we be seated. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is our delight to welcome you this morning to the 2023 Fellowship Investiture. I'd like you to just welcome the person next to you. Say, welcome. I'm glad to have you next to me. And a round of applause for the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. They have made this happen. And I'd like to just welcome and recognize all our eminent personalities here today. I start with none other than the chief host of the day, the one who has made it easy for all of us to be here, the man with the great vision, the president, chairman of council, Dr. Ken Okpara, FCIB. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Next, I'd like to recognize and welcome Senator Anthony Siako Yaro, HCIB, Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs. You're very welcome, sir. Okay. We have a very special guest with us, and he's joining us virtually. His Excellency, Senator Prince Bassi Otu, HCIB, the Executive Governor, Cross River State. Please, a round of applause for him. Next, the first Vice President, Professor Pius Olanrewaju, FCIB. You're very welcome, sir. Thank you. Our second Vice President, Mr. Dele Alabi, FCIB. I warmly welcome you. Okay, the National Treasurer is not here. The Registrar, Chief Executive, Mr. Akimora Akinyo, HCIB. You're very welcome, sir. Our own guest speaker for today. Oh, okay. I understand that the National Treasurer is online, so I'd like to recognize our National Treasurer, Mrs. Mojisola Bakari Asieru, FCIB. Ma'am, you're welcome. Our guest speaker for today is none other than Professor Joseph Nana Jr., Chief Economist, Development Bank of Nigeria, PLC. I warmly welcome you. Our applauses are not warm this morning. Please, let's just do this because we're going to celebrate all of us here today. So let's start making the applause build up from now. Next, I'd like to recognize our highly revered past presidents and members of the Board of Fellows and Practice License here present. I welcome you all, sir. Good morning. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Next, I'd like to welcome past registrars and chief executives of CIBN. You're warmly welcome. Thank you. Distinguished members of the CIBN Governing Council, I also welcome us this morning. Chairmen and managing directors, CEOs of banks and other financial institutions, you are warmly welcome this morning. Thank you for joining us. Fellows, associates, honorary senior members, microfinance certified bankers, and all other categories of membership of CIBN, I welcome us. Captains of industries, eminent members of the academic community, the very distinguished investees of today. A warm round of applause for yourself, please. We celebrate you. Thank you. Guests, family, and friends of the investees, thank you for joining us. Management and staff of CIBN, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome all of us. Our institute is one that holds highly professionalism and excellence in the industry. It's been specially created to ensure that the landmarks and the guiding lights are not removed, that from year to year and from generation to generation, we keep the light burning, and indeed, that is what has been happening. I dare to say there are not many chartered institutes that's strong and thriving as the CIBN. I'd like to specially recognize our past presidents in our midst, Mr. J.O. Ekundayo, FCIB. You're welcome, sir. Mazi O.C.K. Unegbu, FCIB. I warmly welcome you, sir. Professor Segun Ajibola, PhD, FCIB. Welcome, sir. Okay. Uche M. Olowu, PhD, MNI, FCIB. I warmly welcome you, sir. Dr. Bayo Williams Olugbemi, FCIB. You're welcome in our midst this morning. Thank you very much. So as I just introduced those past presidents. Okay. I understand that Dr. Segun Aina is also physically present here. I warmly welcome you this morning, sir. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Again, as I was saying, that this institute stands on very strong shoulders, and that is why every event you see past presidents strongly and confidently standing to uphold the tenets and the excellence of this institution. As we go forward quickly and we run through the events and we come to that point when we, confer on the investees, I ask you all to join us to be a part of this conversation. And at the end of the day, it promises to be a good one. I'd like to welcome, for the welcome address, by our own futuristic president, the advocates of Gen Zs of our times, the one who is looking ahead and saying, you know what, we're all going to be out of here very soon. Let's make the way for this younger generation. Is the erudite and professional Dr. Ken Okpara, FCIB, President and Chairman of Council. You're very welcome, sir. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, the band. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Cross River State.
Yes, sir.
Senator Prince Bassett.
Yes, sir.
The Senator chairing the vice chair of Senate Committee of PRA and NGOs, our good friend and also a professional banker, Senator Tony Yarrow, HCIB. The guest speaker for today, Nana Jr. Our office holder, first Vice President, Professor Larewaju, second Vice President, Midela Labi, the Registrar Chief Executive, Mr. Akimora Keyo, our revered past presidents that are here present, the body of past president, ably led by Mr. Femi Ekundayo, FCIB, council members, awardees. Today, the reason why we are gathered, our daddy, the former managing director of NDIC, Haji Umoru, very strong supporter of the bank. Other distinguished guests that are here present, please permit me to recognize the protocol that has already been laid. Let me welcome you all to the event, which is very unique, very important, as we award the highest honor in the banking profession, and also have our elected members and other honorary senior members. I understand that the traffic is very, very, very tight because of the closure of Third Mainland. So let me apologize for people having to go through that difficult route to be able to attend there. I know that a couple of people are also still in the traffic. I think the notice came very short. Please, our apology for the inconvenience this would have caused. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this 2023 CIBN Fellowship Investiture. As you may be aware, the Fellowship Investiture is an annual event of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, where the prestigious fellowship status of our revered institute is conferred on deserving members who have meritoriously distinguished themselves while making notable contribution to the success of the institute, their respective organization, the banking industry, and of course, the economy at large. In the same vein, deserving members are admitted into the ordinary senior membership cadre of the institute. This year, we're proud to honor 20 honorary fellows, 154 elected fellows, 275 honorary senior members. Out of the 20 honorary fellows, it's instructive to know that for the first time, the Institute is conferring a posthumous award on an individual, talking about late Professor Sunday Oladeji, who is being conferred with this posthumous fellowship award, a very diligent, committed scholar that served meritoriously as an examiner of the Chartered Institute of Bankers for 33 uninterrupted years. He passed on to glory on June 12th, 2023, shortly after he had been approved by Board of Fellows and the Council of our revered institute. May we rise to observe a 1-minute silence in honor of this departed legacy. May the soul of Professor Sunday Oladeji and the departed saints rest in the bosom of the Lord. Dead. I therefore heartily congratulate all the deserving awardees of this institute who are being conferred today with honorary fellowship, the elected fellows, the honorary senior members, as well as their families on this noble accomplishment. It's my desire that you continue to excel in your fields of endeavor and continue to fly the flag of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria higher in your sphere of influence. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend my warm greeting to the special guests that are here with us, talking about the Executive Governor of Cross River State.
Thank you, sir.
His Excellency Senator Prince Basi Otu, HCIB, Executive Governor of Abia State, who is also being represented here. And then, of course, Senator Tony Yaro, the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGO. Their presence here today is a testament of the significance of our shared values, goals, and teamwork needed to realize Nigeria's economic potential. We sincerely appreciate your presence on this occasion, despite your hectic schedule. We want to also appreciate the guest speaker today, the Chief Economist, Development Bank of Nigeria, Professor Joseph Nana Jr. has been a very good friend of the Institute and been available to speak at different fora. We want to specially recognize the dignitaries today, past presidents, the hallmark, the bedrock that we always stand high. Managing directors of banks, captains of industry, our daddy, former managing director of NDIC, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this year's investiture is one that resonates deeply with the aspiration of our nation, even at such a time like this, with the theme, harnessing Nigeria's economic potential for growth and development, strategic imperative. I'm sure no better time than this to discuss this. In a rapidly changing world, The success of nations is often determined by their ability to harness their inherent strength and overcome their challenges. Nigeria is blessed with abundant human and natural resources. It possesses incredible economic potential. When you look at the fact that the total population of this country, 70% of it is at the youth that are 30 and below, that gives you an idea of the potential of this country. Given this fact, we recognize also the challenges in terms of inequality of income and opportunities. We also recognize the lack of job opportunities, which of course has made it for us to have high poverty level, regional inequality, social and political distortion. We also know about high inflation that has taken a toll on household welfare, pushing more people. Given these numerous challenges, harnessing Nigeria's for growth and development is and complexity. Addressing these challenges require visionary leadership and collaborative effort, advancing into opportunity. That demands resilience, and a commitment. Is incumbent upon us as banking professionals and leaders to chart a course that leverages the past and vast potential inherent in our nation's economy. We must explore innovative strategies and approaches that will drive sustainable growth, foster development, and ultimately uplift the life of our citizenry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to inform you that our institute continues to grow in leaps and bounds, creating value and making significant impact in the business landscape. In line with my strategic focus, as the 22nd President and Chairman of Council, we've embarked on several initiatives geared towards the realization of the future agenda. Of course, my agenda is chronicled, the future is now. We've placed emphasis on driving financial innovation and transformation, addressing industry uncertainties, trade and finance collaboration, unveiling pathway for membership growth, re-engineering and rebranding the industry business model along the Gen Z, and ethical conduct and governance, Cibn being the conscience of the industry. It's noteworthy that we've commenced a comprehensive digital transformation, the Chartered Institute of Bankers process. When completed, the institute will rank as one of the leading institutes in Africa and, of course, the world. The Institute has experienced a quantum leap in its membership numerical strength, adding over 18,000 members in one single year, with 82% of this below the age of 27 years. To further highlight this focus, the Institute held the maiden edition of the annual Gen Z Forum, which was held on the 3rd of August 2023, attracting over 8,000 Gen Z millennials across the entire globe. An effort to address the staff attrition rate. I'm also pleased to inform you that the Institute has put in place a human capital development fund. And this is created to address the staffing gap, the skill gap in the country. Basically not to prevent the Jaguar syndrome, because it will continue to be, but basically to retool and prepare our workforce, agile, innovative, and forward-looking. Also, what you have mentioned is that the Institute had fully transited to a full proctoring examination mode, where candidates are now able to write our examination from the comfort of their homes. We've conducted 2 days of our examination on full proctoring basis. And the next phase has witnessed increased number of people that have been participating in that. And what this means is that wherever you are, whether in Nigeria or across the globe, you can take the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria professional exam. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I wrap up my remark, let me once again express my deepest gratitude to all of you who have graced this occasion with their esteemed presence. Your support, dedication, unwavering belief in the ideals of the Institute are the driving force behind our collective success. To the awardees, as I congratulate you, let me say that it is called for service. You must see it as responsibility to provide value and serve this great country. Let us embark on this journey of enlightenment and celebration with open hearts and open mind. Together, we shall explore the strategic imperative that will unlock Nigeria's economic potential for growth and development. Once again, I want to thank you for coming for this great session. May this fellowship investiture be memorable and transformative. May you have sweet experience. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, May we give a warm round of applause to the President and Chairman at Council for that warm welcome address. And its charge is very simple. We all know the challenges that we face as a nation, but we would not sit on the challenges. There are always solutions. And the Institute is about collaboration, working with all of us, making ways and strategies to ensure that there's a way forward. And I think that is all what we're about at the CIBN. Once again, a round of applause for him, please. Next, we will go to the special remarks. And I'd like to bring up to the stage a man who is given to youth empowerment. He was a former regional manager at Fidelity Bank, is a financial expert, and is a politician. I'd like to invite Senator Anthony Siakuyaro, HCIB, the Gombe South Senatorial District Vice Chairman, Diaspora and NGOs Committee. Please attend here for your special remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's not easy to be a broad banker and then just veer into the political realm. But I think we did it, and we did it squarely and fitting. Thank you. The President, CIBN, the first and second Vice President, past presidents here present, council members. I recognize also the governors of Abia and Cross River that are heavily represented. Let me follow a shortcut leaning on existing and established protocol. It is with a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before this August Assembly of great minds to share my thoughts and perspective on the role and our very commitment of the 10th National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the role towards ensuring and harnessing of Nigeria's enormous potentials for growth and development, as well as the strategic perspective thereof. The National Assembly is constitutionally vested with several responsibilities and functions. Chief amongst them are lawmaking to engender the country growth and prosperity. Secondly, oversight functions to ensure that government or the executive arm of government are accountable, as well as the representation and protection of the interests of your citizenry from where you represent your constituents. To ensure that the country's potentials are optimally exploited and harnessed, the 10th National Assembly has an inevitable responsibility and is poised to confront the myriad of challenges the country is currently bedeviled with. This includes enacting effective laws aimed at regalvanizing the economy and engendering financial stability, making our security architecture much more potent and responsive, drastically reducing the country's public debt burden by exploring non-debt financing of critical infrastructure, including private-public partnerships, PPP, and promotion of diaspora funds rather than diaspora bonds, as well as exploring more cost-effective borrowing, including domestic borrowing in foreign currency and currency swaps, with the borrowed funds more productively deployed. The laws will also ensure that the revenue base of the country is significantly enhanced. In fact, I'm just flying this morning from Ikot Ekpene in Akwa Ibom. We were there for 3 solid days, trying to see how we can improve tax laws, Fiscal Responsibility Act, and the rest in boosting our economy and revenue. So we are on it, ladies and gentlemen. We intend to significantly enhance blocking of various forms of leakages in all sources, collection of taxes and other levies is maximized, and the potentials in the non-oil sector are fully harnessed. The continuous slide in the value of the domestic currency must not only be halted, but reversed through laws which will boost such initiatives and import substitution, the export promotion, attraction of more diaspora investments, direct foreign investments, upscaling of our healthcare, educational, and tourism sectors to stem the associated foreign pilgrimage, the popular JAPA that we are facing today, etc. The laws on banking and other financial institutions will also be reviewed with the aim of ensuring not just financial stability and sustainability, but also much more financial inclusion to the banks that effectively play their traditional roles of financing and real sector of the economy. I must, at this juncture, state that the new administration of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu GCFR inherited monumental challenges, and so we need to reflect deeply and focus our attention and energies on issues which are at the epicenter of our national survival and prosperity. Our country stands today as the most conspicuous global stage, as a nation endowed with enormous resources and potentials, while its citizens are so full of optimism, yet so degraded and backward and not disciplined enough to be able to assume its rightful and enviable place in the Committee of Nations, giant of Africa, starting from. Are we really giants still today? Cibn, we need to team up together with the National Assembly and make it the reality. This is therefore a most auspicious time for such noble bodies, such as the Cibn and a host of others, to all of us to embark on a radical transformation of mindset and offer the country the much needed vigor and growth potentials, as your team suggests, which is able to proactively and seamlessly move and respond to evolving developments with cutting-edge solutions that are robust and effective. I so much believe that at the end of this session, so many solutions will be provided. The topic is apt and timely as to growth. I will want you to add the word inclusive growth in that title, so that we move together holistically, because if we don't have a coordinated approach, you are sowing here is unwinding. So that inclusiveness and coordinated growth is much more required. We at the National Assembly, we've already started so many things. The Chairman Committee of Banking is a well-bred banker, former MD of a bank, he was in the public sector. And so he masters everything that we believe round pegs in round holes are established in the Assembly for effective policy management and policy implementation. Our problem in this country has been policy implementation. We pride ourselves in this 10th Senate to say we are a corrective Senate, in the sense that you can't see things going the way they are, and leave it like that. So that required change and reforms. We are very much ready for it. You see Cibn that is involved in so many other things, either than the monetary aspect of policies, to be concentrated and focus on that. You know, when a central bank start to import rice and import this and that, I think it's unbelievable, but it happened. And so today we are taking that massive redirection to see that things are. We just finished confirming the Cibn governor. We extracted commitment from him that no more business as usual. And we are following it with changing acts and reviewing all tax laws to see that today tax payments are dynamic. So the tax laws must also be dynamic. We just noticed in our last 2 days retreat, there are tax laws of 1939, 1959 that are still, being worked out. And so many things have changed. You see a tax law saying £1, 50 pence, and that they are the laws that we're running on. For goodness sake, we are very ready in the National Assembly to cooperate and collaborate with bodies like Cibn. So Cibn President, you are welcome. We are very much adored to it. And the sky will be the limit for this country. That's our belief, that will turn around things to come to the better. Let me conclude by saying unequivocally that I have a passionate belief that our country has a rendezvous with destiny that will turn the corner, grow, and prosper. And so with a renewed hope, let us embrace change and make progress happen. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let us give a warm round of applause for our senator. I think I'm liking that message of hope. It's not all just so gloomy. There's a lot of work going on in the background. The current administration is ready to partner with bodies like ours to, ensure that radical mindset change that we all need. And of course, the oiling of the economy, that wheel needs to move. And I think the charge is, I've heard hope now, and I think I'm hearing more hope as we go along in this program. Please come along with me. Once again, thank you very much, Senator. We're inspired by that. Before I call on the next speaker, I'd like to recognize a gentleman that has joined the top table, the MD of NDIC, Mr. Hassan Bello, OON FCIB. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Our next special remarks would be coming from His Excellency, Senator Prince Basi Otu, HCIB. He'll be joining us virtually. It's been queued with a background in finance and oil industry before going into politics. He also says, and he speaks about hope and restoration. His focal areas around the economic, empowerment, healthcare, and tax reforms, amongst many others. If we're ready, can we please cue in? Oh, yes, he's there already. A warm welcome to you, sir, His Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Prince Basi Otu, HCIB. A warm round of applause again. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad and happy to join you. Good morning, everybody. The President, Chairman of Council, Dr. Ken Okpara, FCIB, the representative of my brother and friend, the Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, Senator Anthony Siaku Yaro, the first Vice President, Professor Pius Olarengwaju, FCIB, the second Vice President, Mr. Dele Alabi, FCIB, the National Treasurer, Mrs. Mojisola Bakari Asheru, FCIB, the Registrar Stroke Chief Executive, Mr. Akin Morakio, my friend, HCIB. Of course, the guest speaker of today, Professor Joseph Nana Jr., the Chief Economist, Development Bank of Nigeria, PLC. Our very highly revered past presidents and members of the Board of Fellows and practice license here present. Let me recognize Mr. Shegun I know in this group, past registrars, chief executives of CIBN, distinguished members of the CIBN Governing Council, chairman, managing director, CEOs of banks and other financial institutions. Permit me to key into the already established protocol. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm greatly delighted to be part of this investiture program. Since its inception, the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria continues to make impeccable impact on the management of the Nigerian economy. This it does through its robust involvement in banking and finance education, modulation of standards of professional practice, and evolution of time-tested legal and statutory framework for banking practice and education in Nigeria. No wonder the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria remains a formidable pillar where theoretical and practical training fits perfectly with the demands of the industry. I congratulate the Institute on the theme of this investiture, which is harnessing Nigeria's economic potentials for growth and development, of course, strategic imperatives. This theme is apt, and there is no doubt that enormous potential exists for Nigeria to attain great heights. I'm confident that this fellowship investiture would definitely produce the expected results. Just as the impending challenges are huge, so also are the abundance of tools and resources that are properly fit to overcome the challenges. Despite the emerging seemingly unfavorable global and national socio-economic and political dynamics, the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria have remained resilient and pivotal amidst the vagaries of the volatility of the macroeconomic crisis, the pressures of wars and insecurity, the speed of automation and quantum computing, potential threats of artificial intelligence, cyber insecurity, and apparent tension in sustaining optimal national output and, of course, liquidity. Yet the issues hanging negatively on most economies on account of public debt management, with its contagious and domino effects, ferment danger of huge magnitude on national economic growth, technical progress, and capital formation. Nonetheless, I'm confident that the Institute shall live well above the issues. However, I must not fail to pinpoint a modal threat, the threat of fraud in the banking system. The Financial Institution Training Center, the FITC, in its 2023 report, says that 24 banks of the current 31 account for the loss of 9.75 billion at the second quarter of 2023, representing an increase of 277% compared to the first quarter in 2023, and that staff involvement rose by 22.2% within the period. This trend portends danger for the banking system and must be addressed headlong. There are various indications that if some of these things are not followed clearly, there'll be issues arising both in terms of the physical responsibility on the part of the economic managers. On my own part, I've been a banker of first instance. I carried on for a long time before advancing into statesmanship and governance. In my current work as the Executive Governor of Cross River State, I remain driven by the skills and discipline that the banking career gives. Diligence, attention to detail, altruism, and a knack for custodianship. I remain resolute in avowed welfare intermediation and the creation of competitive wealth and prosperity in the affairs of people. I am dearly determined to sustain this trajectory at all times. I have noticed that the Institute is beginning to build some structures in different states. Cross River State is donating a land today, and we are ready to match that with the seed money for the Institute to come and raise an edifice that will encourage our people here to come even more into the profession. Let me thank each and every one that has been present. I would love to be, but the exigencies of duty. So, Mr. President, fellow invitees, awardees of today, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful for this honor and pledge to continue to identify with the Institute as it moves gallantly into the future with renewed vigor and vitality. Thank you for your highly valued audience. Thank you. Long live the Nigerian Institute of Bankers. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Your Excellency, Senator Prince Basio to HCIB. I minuted as I was listening to you. I said the CIBN as an ambassador in the corridor of powers. Here is a man who is saying, I am going in the power and in the discipline of the banking industry. I'm going to follow through, going through with details, and we know all of these things are lacking out there. So a warm round of applause for you, sir. We encourage you to stay on this path, and we are rooting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to quickly call on some of our council members who are here seated to please come forward. Mrs. Tonyo Jo, FCIB, Mrs. Rafiat Onitiri, FCIB, Dr. Don Ubona, FCIB. Kindly please come forward from wherever you are seated. I'd also like to recognize the MD CEO, Rand Merchant Bank, Mr. Dalu Ajene, HCIB. Kindly come forward as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd also like to recognize the ICANN delegate to this investiture, Chief DCS Alaribe, the Vice President of ICANN. You're welcome in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that time where we would be speaking to the core subject we want to address as today's sitting, amongst other things, which is the investiture of our honorees. I will be reading the citation of our guest speaker, who is none other than Professor Joseph Nana, Chief Economics Development, Nana Jr., Chief Economist, Development Bank of Nigeria, PLC. And the theme of today's speak is harnessing Nigeria's economic potentials for growth and development, the strategic imperatives. Professor Joseph Nana serves as the Chief Economist of the Development Bank of Nigeria, PLC. In this capacity, he leads the research, monitoring, and evaluation and sustainability arm of the bank. A seasoned professional with numerous years of experience in the US mortgage, banking, manufacturing, and telecommunication industry, serving in managerial roles before joining the academia. Prior to joining DBN, Professor Nana was a tenured professor of business and economics in Oklahoma State. His scholarly works have been published in numerous academic journals, such as Economic Analysis and Policy, Journal of Public Affairs, amongst many others. He is also an editorial board member of the Society of Corporate Governance of Nigeria and a member of the AFTA National Action Committee for Nigeria. In 2020, Professor Nana contributed a book chapter in the European Investment Bank's publication entitled Banking in Africa, Financing Transformation Amid Uncertainty, with fellow economists in the EIB, and so many other publications. He earned a Bachelor of Business Administration, an MBA degree in accounting, a master's degree in economics, and a doctorate degree in corporate governance and economics from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, Florida Metropolitan University, the University of Oklahoma, and Agosi University, respectively. Is a member of the Nigeria Economic Society and the American Economic Association. I think he deserves a resounding round of applause. I don't want to be like you. That's too much book in one place. Come on. You've read so much. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for the introduction. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to stand on all existing protocol because there are so many distinguished ladies and gentlemen here today. I wouldn't want to miss anyone out. The topic given to me, entitled Harnessing Nigeria's Economic Potential for Growth and Development, is quite apt. And I'm happy to be here at such an auspicious occasion. As a matter of fact, even though this was left out, I am honored to have been honored last year as an honorary senior member. So I am in good company. Permit me to dive into my speech. The concept of growth and development occupies a central place in the discourse of nations seeking to improve the quality of life for their citizens and strengthen their global position. You see, the true measure of a nation's government lies in its ability to achieve a high standard of development, as this is a fundamental element in a country's quest for self-sufficiency. Development is a multifaceted concept that encompasses various dimensions beyond mere economic indicators. While some may define development solely through an economic lens, it is increasingly recognized as a multi-dimensional pursuit. In the context of Nigeria, a nation blessed with abundant natural and human resources, the pursuit of both economic growth and development has been a complex and evolving challenge. Despite its vast potential, Nigeria's growth trajectory has often been marred by economic vulnerabilities, policy inconsistencies, and structural limitations. The Nigerian economy has grappled with the volatility of global oil prices, leading to economic instability, given its heavy reliance on oil exports. Ladies and gentlemen, my talk today aims to provide an in-depth exploration of the current state of the Nigerian economy. It then discusses three strategic imperatives, namely economic diversification, human capital development, and of course, infrastructure development. Each imperative is presented as a critical component in Nigeria's quest for sustainable inclusive growth and development. Lastly, the paper acknowledges the challenges and constraints facing Nigeria on its path to progress, emphasizing the importance of addressing policy implementation, resource allocation, corruption, and leadership as the fundamental areas that require significant reform. There exist various viewpoints regarding the essence of the concept of development. Some view it through an economic lens, while others perceive it as a multidimensional concept, signifying that development extends beyond the realm of economics. Numerous scholars have posited that development can be defined as the endeavor to maximize gross national product by accumulating capital and advancing industrialization. Alternatively, it can be seen as a nation's ability to elevate its stagnant economy to a point where it can consistently generate and maintain an annual gross national product. Moreover, development extends beyond the mere acquisition of industries. It also encompasses aspects such as modernization, enhanced productivity, achieving social and economic equity, adopting modern technical expertise, improving institutions, fostering positive attitudes, and implementing a well-coordinated policy framework. Furthermore, development pertains to the enhancement of people's living standards, and certain development indicators encompass factors such as an improved quality of life, increased income, enhanced education, elevated standard of health and nutrition, reduced poverty within society, a cleaner environment, greater equality of opportunities, expanded individual freedoms, and a more vibrant cultural life among the residents of a specific environment. Economic growth, on the other hand, refers to the rise in the inflation, adjusted market worth of the goods and services generated by an economy as time progresses on. Typically, it is quantified as the percentage increase in real gross domestic product, often on a per capita basis. It signifies an expansion in an economy's capabilities to manufacture goods and services when comparing one period to another. Both growth and development serve as a crucial benchmarks within a nation, enabling governments to formulate fresh initiatives and policies aimed at bolstering their economies. Here's an overview of the Nigerian economy. The productive base of the Nigerian economy remains weak, narrow, and externally oriented with primary production activities of agriculture and mining and quarrying, including crude oil and gas. Nigeria's growth is relatively weak, and it's susceptible to shocks is increasing due to the macroeconomic policy framework's flaws and other economic factors. After the pandemic caused recession in 2020, the Nigerian economy improved, but this did not reflect on the economy as the macroeconomic stability declined. In conflict with historical records, high oil prices in 2021 did not boost the performance of the Nigerian economy. Rather, macroeconomic stability further weakened amidst declining oil production, a costly petrol subsidy, which consumed a large share of gross oil revenues, exchange rate distortions, monetization of the fiscal deficit, and high inflation. Since the beginning of 2022, inflation has been on the rise, reaching its current value of 26.72% year on year, forcing a total of up to 71 million Nigerians into poverty. With Nigeria's population growth continuing to outpace poverty reduction, the number of Nigerians living below the national poverty line is estimated to rise by 13 million between 2019 and 2025. These factors highlight the need for improvements in the current macroeconomic management to enhance overall growth and developments in the country. The Nigerian government has made efforts towards promoting growth by the recent removal of fuel subsidy implemented in 2023. of this year, June. This was due to the rise in the amount of national budget allocated towards the subsidy, with an amount of roughly 4 trillion naira, amounting to 23% of the national budget of 17 trillion in 2022. The effects of this policy have been mixed, as the long-term benefits are highlighted, but the short-term negative consequences are heavy on the citizens. While petrol price deregulation has contributed to higher cost of living and inflation, the impact can be moderated if complemented with effective policies and well-thought-out implementation strategies. The government has also implemented its National Financial Inclusion Strategy, which is set to target financial challenges to enhance financial equality and eradicate poverty. The constant high levels of inequality in terms of income and opportunities contribute to poverty in the country. Unemployment, social and regional disparities, and political discontent also contribute to lack of economic growth and poverty. In 2022, it was recorded that the country had achieved 64% of its strategy's goal towards its target of 95% by 2024. While Nigeria has made some progress in recent years, its human capital development, according to the World Bank, ranked only 150 out of 157 countries. Nigeria continues to face massive development challenges, which must be addressed for the country to realize its full potentials and improve economic growth and overall development. So here are the 3 strategic imperatives. The first, on economic diversification, Nigeria faces various structural challenges that hinder its economic potential, such as insufficient infrastructure, trade barriers, both tariff and non-tariff, investment impediments, doubts about currency evaluation, and restricted foreign exchange capabilities. The importance of leveraging the untapped potential of non-oil sectors in developing economies to promote sustainable growth cannot be overemphasized. Nigeria, as a developing nation, possesses significant natural resources, including extensive arable land for agriculture and substantial crude oil and gas reserves, upon which its economy heavily relies. Nevertheless, Nigeria has a significant poverty rate and was designated as the global epicenter of poverty in 2019. This, amongst other reasons, can be attributed to Nigeria's reliance on a growth strategy centered on its crude oil exports. However, the volatility of global crude oil prices has contributed to an unstable growth in the Nigerian economy. Nigeria has missed numerous opportunities to escape the cycle of underdevelopment, despite its abundant natural and human resources, primarily because of its heavily dependence on crude oil resources. The persistent challenge associated with fluctuating global oil prices has prompted a consistent need for economic policies and initiatives aimed at mitigating the impact of oil price volatility on the nation's economic expansions. This involves fostering robust non-oil sectors that can generate the necessary income. There is, of course, optimism that the solid minerals sector has the potential to emerge as a significant contributor to diversifying the economy, moving away from its reliance on oil and gas. The sector is expected to act as a catalyst for Nigerian economic growth and facilitate inclusive development in the forthcoming decade. Consequently, Nigeria must expedite its efforts to diversify its economy away from crude oil, and there are several avenues available for Nigeria to achieve this goal. Pillar number 2, human capital development. The significance of education and human capital in driving economic growth of a nation has been consistently emphasized in numerous studies over the years. It is widely acknowledged that without sufficient human and natural resources, meaningful economic growth cannot be achieved. In the current era, characterized by a knowledge-based economy, the growth of education and human capital holds paramount importance for both advanced economies and emerging economies undergoing profound transformation and, of course, rapid development. Both health and education constitute essential components of human capital and contribute significantly to human well-being. An indicator of human welfare encompasses income, education, and health, reveals that Africa's level of human development lags behind other regions globally. Despite the pivotal role of educational institutions and human capital development in general, Nigeria allocates only a modest portion of its financial resources to health and education, frequently falling short of the standards set by the United Nations and, of course, the World Health Organization for both sectors. In particular, education expenditure falls significantly below the United Nations recommended threshold of 26% of the national budget. Many countries that have experienced rapid economic growth attribute their success to substantial advancements in human capital, as exemplified by India, China, Thailand, and Spain. Conversely, nations with slower economic growth tend to show limited progress in human capital development, especially in developing countries, to address global socioeconomic and ecological challenges that have the potential to jeopardize our individual and collective well-being and the prospects of the future generations to come. It is essential to recognize that building the necessary human capital for sustainable development across all nations requires both a new life ideology and, of course, innovative approaches to education. It is widely acknowledged that disparities in socioeconomic development among nations can be attributed not merely to natural resources and endowments or the accumulation of physical capital, but rather to the quality and quantity of human resources. Presently, Nigeria aspires to be counted among the world's top 20 developed nations. To realize this ambition, a fundamental prerequisite is to ensure that the availability of skilled manpower across the various domains encompassing social, political, institutional, technological, and economic spheres that drive the process of growth, development, and, of course, industrialization. The third pillar, infrastructure development. In recent years, the connection between infrastructure development and economic growth has emerged as a pivotal topic in both academic discourse and, of course, policy considerations. According to a report by the African Development Bank entitled An Infrastructure Action Plan for Nigeria, Closing the Infrastructure Gap and Accelerating Economic Transformation, Nigeria is projected to require approximately, hear me loud and clear, $3 trillion in infrastructure investments over the next 3 decades, and around $165 billion in the medium term to establish a world-class infrastructure network capable of sustaining economic growth and development. Investing in infrastructure is poised to stimulate economic expansion, generate employment opportunities, deliver essential services to the nation and its citizens. The World Economic Forum estimates that each dollar allocated to capital projects encompassing utilities, energy, transportation, waste management, flood defense, and, of course, telecommunication can yield an economic return ranging from 5% to 25%. Consequently, it is crucial to recognize that any government action that hinder infrastructure growth and development have far-reaching economic implications both at the micro and macro levels. Infrastructure contribution to economic development, especially in terms of industrialization, is a monumental as it creates an enabling environment for productive activities, fosters investments, facilitates the movement of goods and people, enhances information dissemination, and aids in diversifying and commercializing the economy on a broad scale. Infrastructural investments are a pivotal catalyst for achieving rapid and sustained economic growth. In societies lacking adequate infrastructure, the primary sector experiences significant setbacks, hindering the foundation for the expansion of local manufacturing industries. In contemporary times, the realization of economic growth and development hinges upon the promotion of industrialization, which in turn relies heavily on the availability of functional infrastructure. So to foster economic growth and development in Nigeria, the government must actively support industrialization by ensuring the provision of essential infrastructure components, such as uninterrupted electricity, a robust road network, access to water, and perhaps year-round irrigation, and a reliable communication network. Investment in critical infrastructure is imperative for achieving growth and development in the country, a priority underscored by the government through increased budgetary allocation for capital expenditure in recent years. Additionally, the government has embarked on adopting the public-private partnership model for public infrastructure development. This aligns with international best practices that emphasize robust collaboration between the public and, of course, the private sectors, utilizing PPP frameworks to leverage private sector capital, efficiency, and expertise for infrastructure development. Here are some challenges and constraints. The challenges to growth and development in Nigeria are manifold, including the imposition of policies on citizens, a shortage of adequate human and capital resources for policy implementation, corruption, and a lack of credible leadership. Many of the nation's development issues stem from the ineffective execution of policies. Policymakers often fail to bridge the gap between policy goals and actual achievements, often presenting overly complex policies, which are difficult to implement given their limited time in office. Consequently, many national development plans are abandoned at the end of their respective tenures, with subsequent governments failing to carry forward these incomplete plans. This, in my humble opinion, is a key explanation for the numerous abandoned projects found across the country. Furthermore, development in Nigeria has been impeded by mismanagement of public funds, along with lack of transparency and accountability, of course, among other factors. In conclusion, permit me to recapitulate. I have made a concerted effort to analyze the multidimensional concept of growth and development, emphasizing that it encompasses far more than mere economic indicators. Nigeria's over-reliance on oil exports has rendered its growth trajectory susceptible to endogenous as well as exogenous shocks in global oil prices, leading to economic instability. However, amidst these challenges lies a path forward through strategic imperatives that can unlock Nigeria's vast potential. Economic diversification emerges as a crucial avenue, leveraging the untapped potential of the non-oil sector to promote inclusive, sustainable growth. Also, human capital development takes center stage, acknowledging that education and health stands at the core of economic growth. And finally, infrastructure development stands as another cornerstone, underscoring the importance of building a modern and efficient infrastructure network. These strategic imperatives are not standalone solutions and would need to be complemented with addressing policy implementation, resource allocation, corruption, and of course, good, strong leadership. In doing so, Nigeria can move beyond the constraints of its past, harness the strengths of its resources, and emerge as a beacon of inclusive growth and development on the continent of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause again for him. When you have a professor at the stand, you try to be a good student. I have another professor in front of me, Professor Tam David West. I'm ousting you. As I was listening, I kept on writing like a good student so that, I wouldn't, but it was difficult to catch up. Professor was on the run, man. But I thank you for that in-depth, talk about it had a deep dive into the issues around the economy, pivoting on 3 key issues, which I remembered clearly: economic diversification, saying we've been mouthing too much what we're doing in the oil and gas. What are we doing about quarrying and mining? What are we doing to strengthen agriculture? What are we doing about human capacity? Then he talked about capital development, where it was critical that the right kind of investment must go into the right sector. And the last was infrastructure development. We can't do nothing without infrastructure. What would it be like to have uninterrupted power supply? I mean, it would be like I was living in another world. I wait for that day. Imagine if the road networks were great, our cars will last better, definitely. And of course, communication. We pay so much to do so little. But there is hope. It is time to put our minds and our hearts where it belongs, to start to push again for focused leadership, and to ensure that all the great points that I put out here today, we put everything to use. Thank you very much again, Professor Nana Jr. That was deep and insightful. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that point where the honorees of today, and wait a minute, we have 20 honorary fellows. A round of applause, please. 149 elected fellows. Please clap for yourselves. And 270 honorary senior members. Oh, wow. This is the banking industry at its very best. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to that place where we will go to the presentation awards. And that is the time when I yield this place to my brother, the Registrar and Chief Executive, Mr. Akin Morakin, HCIB, CIBN. My name is Buki Oluyadi. I run customer experience for Polaris Bank. I shall be back when we are finished celebrating you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our very special guest of honor, distinguished Senator Yaro, His Excellency Senator Basi Otu, and everyone here present today. If you are indeed happy and glad, happy to be alive, happy to be here, please help me turn to your right and to your left. Please say someone, congratulations, I'm glad you made it. Congratulations, I'm glad you made it. If the person is not smiling at you, it means he's not happy at you. Turn to someone else. Congratulations, I'm glad you made it. And let's give ourselves a warm round of applause. As it was said, this is the high point of this event, and this is where we have the conferment of the awards. And it will be in 3 segments: the honorary senior members, the fellows, and the honorary fellows. While Prof was speaking, I remembered something that happened many years ago. A teacher had a session, it was mathematics class, and he had a session for his students. And he taught them they were elementary pupils. It was 1 + 1, 1 - 1, and the rest of them. So at the end of the class, he would do a recap. And then he asked the pupil, what is 1 - 1? The pupil say, I don't know. Ah, how can you not know that? Okay, what if I give you 1 puff-puff? I drop 1 puff-puff in your palm, and I take away 1 puff-puff. What do you have left? The gentle boy said, oil. And so this is the segment where we oil our hands. Please, let's give ourselves a warm round of applause. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, with your permission, we will proceed into the conferment of award to the serving members of our great industry who have excelled in their various fields. The great scholar Socrates once said, honor is the reward for excellence. And we are gathered here today to give honor to whom honor is due. And so we start with the first segment, the honorary senior members, and this will be the procedure. You have to conform with procedure, otherwise you can be disqualified at this point. Thank you. And so at this point, I'd like to request the studio to please give us 2 sharp microphones, one for the president and one for the first vice president, who is the chairman of the board of fellows. And so may I request all honorees for the honorary senior membership category to please be upstanding and remain standing. Please stand and remain standing. Instruction number 1. Now you have already won your stool. I have not asked you to do so. So you may now wear your stool. Please assist them to do it properly. Third instruction, please bring out your oath of affirmation. And you will repeat after me. I mention your name. As an honorary senior member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, hereby affirm that I will respect, promote and abide by the provisions of the Act, policies, rules, and regulations and guidelines of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, as well as adhere strictly to the code of conduct in the Nigerian banking industry, governing members of the institute and the banking profession. I pledge, with every sense of responsibility, to discharge my professional responsibilities with all sense of honesty, integrity, competence, and uprightness, and to do everything ethically possible to uplift the standards of bankers, the banking profession, and the banking industry at large. So help me God. Thank you for clapping, but we are not there yet. The Chairman Board of Fellows and Practice License, Professor Pius Oladeji Olariwaju, PhD, FCIB. It is with great pleasure that I, Akin Murakinyo, HCIB, Registrar Chief Executive of CIBN, present to you these distinguished personalities who have fulfilled all conditions set by the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria for the honorary senior membership of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria for presentation to Mr. President and Chairman of Council. I so submit.
Thank you, our dear registrar, for a job well done. The President and Chairman of Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Ken Okpara, PhD, FCIB, Chairman of the occasion, distinguished guests of honor, fellows, honorary senior members that are present, associates, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I, Professor Pius Oladeji Olariwaju, PhD, FCIB, on behalf of the Board of Fellows that are here and in diaspora, present to these very distinguished audience, these eminent members of the banking profession, associate who has contributed immensely to the banking industry, the institute, and the profession in general for the conferment of honorary senior member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, ACIB. I so present, sir.
By the powers conferred on me by the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, I, Ken Opara, PhD, SCIB, President and Chairman of Council, do hereby confer on you all, jointly and severally, the honorary senior membership of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, HCIB, with all rights, privileges, and obligations. A very big congratulations.
Very much. Let's give them a warm round of applause. You are now HCIB of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations. 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 May I, at this point, invite on stage our past presidents who are on the, to please step up and join the gentleman on the top table. Please, Your Excellency, please step forward as the and members of the Board of Fellows, Alhaji Umaru, the NDIC, former NDIC MD, to please step forward to the stage as we line up to honor the investees who will now step forward, one after the other, to receive their scroll, which contains your certificate and your emblem of membership. And so please give us 1 minute. Prof, you can come to this side. Prof, please come to this side. Okay, there are many profs. Sorry. Mr. President and Chairman of Council. Mr. President, I would humbly request that you step back a bit. No, we have not started. No. We have not started, please. Wait for the last instruction. We can withdraw it. Oh. No, we have not called you. Not called you. Now, Mr. President is said, the honorees will file out this way. You will take a handshake all the way from that point. When you get to the president, you take your scroll, you shake other distinguished personalities, and you make your exits this way. And so that's the way we do it. Let's make it sharp and sweet. Band over to you. So you can go now.
Oh, you see? Oh. Oh, you see?
Let's make it snappy. Just a handshake, you move, and then we can continue. And so, fellows, please get set. It's your turn after this. Thank you. Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Sì. Oh, sì.
Everyone is trying out for peace. Nobody's crying out for justice. Everyone is crying out for peace. Nobody's crying out for justice. We don't want no peace. Till one got injustice. Injustice. Everyone is crying out for peace. No, 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 no. Crying out for justice. Congratulations. Everyone is crying out for peace. But nobody is crying out for justice. And please, till mother, injustice. Injustice. That's what we're equal. Injustice. They say it's gonna be like I'm going back to my roots, baby. I'm Raise my, raise Bringing smile, 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 we got to step happy. So someone here together. No. Can't go anywhere. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The distinguished past president, you can come back to your seats. And I also one of our past presidents, Professor Wale. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. Thank you very much. And so I'd like to implore all our newly invested honorary senior members to please sit and remain seated as we progress to the next category. Thank you, please sit. You will take more pictures after this event. Otherwise, it's not too late, we can revert it. All right, thank you. So distinguished guests, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move to the segment of elected fellows. Elected fellows, I can see them clapping, please clap. And distinguished audience, clapping is an investment. If you clap for others, they will clap for you. Let's make it louder. Our elected fellows are those candidates who have written and passed the examination of the Institute. And like the president, please clap for yourself. You have done it well. It's not easy. In local parlance, we say I am, not we am. Okay. Now, the president did mention while he was giving his address that we have a lot of routes to becoming a chartered banker. And the people sitting here have gone through all the various routes, including people who went through the Chartered Banker MBA program that we have a collaboration with Scotland, where you get 3 qualifications, 1 program, 3 qualifications. Let's appreciate them, they're there. Graduates of Cibn MBA. We have those who went through the linkage schools, linkage connection, and they became chartered. We have those who went through the experience route and they got some exemptions and they are chartered. We have those who have gone through the regular examination route and they are now chartered. The latest one we have just released is the collaboration with the Lagos Business School, where you go to Lagos Business School as you run your MBA program or your SMP program, and you get chartered at the same time. 1 program, 2 qualifications. And that program will kick off October 31st this month. So it's going to kick off in another 1 week, and we encourage others to please take advantage of this. On this note, I'd like to invite all candidates to be elected into fellowship of the Institute to please stand and remain standing. Thank you, you're all very obedient. No one, please, you can now adore your store. I was watching for someone that will flout this. Thank you very much. And then bring out your oath of affirmation. And you will repeat after me. I mention your name. As an elected fellow of the Charter of Bankers of Nigeria, hereby affirm that I will respect, promote, and abide by the provisions of the Act, policies, rules, regulations, and guidelines of the Charter of Bankers of Nigeria, as well as adhere strictly to the Code of Conduct in the Nigerian banking industry, governing members of the Institute and the banking profession. I pledge, with every sense of responsibility, to discharge my professional responsibilities with all sense of honesty, integrity, competence, and uprightness, and to do everything ethically possible to uplift the standards of bankers, the banking profession, and the banking industry at large. So help me God. The chairman, Board of Fellows and Practice License, Professor Pius Oladeji Olarewaju FCIB, PhD. May I, Akim Urakinyo, HCIB, Registrar Chief Executive of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, present to you these distinguished associates of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, whose application for election into fellowship of the Institute have been approved by the Governing Council for presentation to Mr. President and Chairman of Council for their election as fellows of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. I so present.
Thank you, our dear Registrar, the President and Chairman of Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Ken Okwara, PhD, FCIB, Chairman of this August occasion, distinguished guests of honor present here, fellows, honorary senior members, associates, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I, Professor Pius Oladeji Olarewaju, PhD, FCIB, on behalf of the Board of Fellows present here and in diaspora, present to this distinguished audience, these eminent members of the banking professions, associates who has contributed immensely to the banking industry, the institute, and the profession in general for the conferment of the fellowship of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. I so present, sir.
By the powers conferred on me by the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, I, Ken Opara, PhD, FCIB, President and Chairman of Council, do hereby confer on you that jointly and severally the fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, FCIB, with all rights, privileges, and obligations. A very big congratulations.
Congratulations to our new elected fellows. Congratulations. Please, let's give them a warm round of applause. And elected fellows of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. One more time, I'd like to humbly request our distinguished personalities on the top table to please join them, Mr. President, and invite our past presidents and members of the Board of Fellows to also please come to the top table to do this again as we elect the new fellows of the Institute, as we elect the new fellows of the Institute. And so I'd like the band to give them an entertainment that matches that of fellows of the Institute. And so the fellows will file out very shortly, and you will take a handshake and receive your scroll from Mr. President. And so we can go. We can start. Distinguished fellows who are Chartered Bankers Associates, now becoming fellows of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. This is the highest shader you can attain in the industry. Congratulations to you. Nigeria Police Band, over to you. You still have one more chance to play, and I want you to release your arsenal as we go to the last stanza of this last segment of this program. One more time, let's appreciate our elected fellows. We are now moving to the high point of this event and the moment we all have been waiting for. Growing up as a child, my father will admonish us, be mindful of the wife you marry. Be mindful of the kind of wife you marry, because the wife you marry can determine whether you will have a prayer partner or a prayer point. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this last segment is where we celebrate our honorary fellows. These gentlemen and ladies have been wonderful partners of the Institute, of the industry, and of our nation, Nigeria, and that's why we are honoring them today. Please join me, appreciate all our honorees. That will be announced shortly. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, we have distinguished gentlemen and women who have been duly approved, recommended by the Board of Fellows and practice license, and approved by the Governing Council for the conferment of honorary fellowship of this great institute. These men and women are those who have distinguished themselves. They have exhibited the habit of excellence. Socrates once said, Aristotle once said, that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. These distinguished men and women have displayed the habit of excellence, and they have excelled in their various fields of endeavor. And therefore, today, we are honoring them. And so, this will be the order. I will mention your name. And once I mention your name, please be upstanding. And I'll say, read your citation, and then we will proceed in that order. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, today it is my honor and privilege to present to you one of the honorees for honorary fellowship of the Institute. May I request to be upstanding the Executive Director of Corporate Services, NDIC, Mrs. Emily Osuji. You can clap for her, make it louder. Mrs. Emily Osuji is Executive Director, Corporate Services Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. She began her career as a pioneer staff and management trainee at NDIC in 1988, rising through the ranks to become the Director of Asset Management in the year 2020. In the year 2022, she was promoted and appointed Executive Director, Corporate Services, becoming the first staff member to be so elevated to that position hitherto, fit from outside. Let's celebrate her. At different times in her career, she was in charge of the realization of assets of deposit money banks, primary mortgage institutions, and microfinance banks in liquidation. Also, she was in charge of implementing the effective supervision of insured microfinance banks and primary mortgage banks covered by NDIC, as well as their premium examinations and collections. Our commitment to duty was applied to promote the interaction between operators and corporation, resulting in improved operator behavior and general industry harmony. She played a leading role in the stabilization of and development of the microfinance and mortgage bank sectors, thereby impacting positively on the financial systems. Mrs. Osuji was one of the 6 employees and the only female staff member of the corporation who were given accelerated promotion in recognition of their outstanding performance. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management, fellow of the Association of Enterprise Risk Management, fellow of the National Labor of the Institute, and a member of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria. Mrs. Osuji has been a strong supporter and promoter of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, she's a committed supporter of the Institute's brand in all ways. Mr. President, Chairman of Council, distinguished fellow, honorary senior members, it is my singular honor and privilege to present to you an amazing, eminent member of the banking industry, an amazing Amazon, a business re-engineering guru, a reputable and thoroughbred professional, a reformer, a great mentor, a world-class bank examiner, and the challenger, Mrs. Emily Cibn Osuji, for the award of Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Please, let's celebrate this amazing. You may be seated. We will call you up and do the investiture at the same time. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, I'd like to respectfully invite to be upstanding the Director of Banking Supervision, Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Haruna Bala Mustafa. Mr. Haruna Bala Mustafa is the Director of Banking Supervision Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria, a position he assumed in March 8, 2021. Prior to his current role, he was the immediate past Director of Consumer Protection Department of the bank, responsible for ensuring good market conduct by financial services providers and engendering confidence in the use of financial products and services. Mr. Mustafa had worked in several departments of the bank, garnering extensive experience in bank supervision, regulatory policy development, risk management, non-interest banking, financial inclusion, cybersecurity, and anti-money laundering, amongst others. I think it deserves a round of applause. He has served on several technical committees and initiatives within and outside the CBN in furtherance of the bank's mandate, promoting a sound and stable financial system in Nigeria. As Director of Banking Supervision, Mr. Mustafa is responsible for ensuring the safe, sound, and stable banking system in Nigeria through effective risk-based and consolidated supervision of licensed banks, financial holding companies, credit bureau, and payment service banks, among other responsibilities. Mr. Mustafa is a member of the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and several of its subcommittees. He also sits on the board of Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, Financial Institutions Training Center, FITC, and FMDQ. He is a member of the Community of African Banking Supervisors under the aegis of Association of African Central Banks and chairs its working group on crisis management. He is an avid reader and knowledge enthusiast. He has received several recognitions and commendations for his contributions to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian banking system, and he is an accounting graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University area and a fellow of the Institute of Accountants of Nigeria. Mr. President, Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and privilege to present to you this outstanding and innovative banker, an accomplished professional, a committed member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and a role model to young aspiring bankers, Mr. Haruna Bala Mustafa, for the award of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Please, let's appreciate Mr. Mustafa. Thank you. You may be seated. Because the Chartered Institute of Bankers is extremely gender sensitive, and I'd like to humbly call on the amazing, the MD CEO of Guaranty Trust Bank PLC, Mrs. Miriam Chidebele Olusoya, HCIB. You can celebrate her. I thought the women in the house would raise the roof. Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Miriam Olusoya is the Managing Director of Guaranty Trust Bank Limited, a subsidiary of Guaranty Trust Holding Company PLC, GTCO. Miriam joined the bank as an executive trainee in 1988, rose through the ranks, and has garnered over 25 years banking experience that cuts across asset and liability management, financial markets, corporate finance, investment banking, investor relations, and transaction services. Mrs. Olusoya holds the Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and a Master of Business Administration, Accounting, Finance and Accounting from University of Liverpool, United Kingdom. She has also attended several executive management and banking specific development programs at leading educational institutions around the world. Prior to her appointment as the bank's MD, she has served as executive director and has served in various capacities. She currently serves as a non-executive director on the board of Guaranty Trust Bank Gambia Limited. She is also a non-executive director of the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Systems (NIPS) and the Shared Agent Expansion Facilities (SANEB). She is also a member of the Financial Markets Subcommittee of the Bankers Committee, the primary interactive policy platform made up of Central Bank of Nigeria and banks. She is a strong supporter of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and has contributed immensely to the growth and development of the institute in so many ways. Mr. President, Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and privilege to present to you a thought leader, a technology enthusiast, a champion of diversity and inclusion, a mentor, a role model, and a trailblazer, a committed mother, a lady of impeccable character, the unstoppable Mrs. Olusoya Miriam, HCIB, for the award of the honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you very much, you may be seated. Distinguished guests, Mr. President, I now move on to invite to be upstanding the GMD CEO of United Bank for Africa, Mr. Oliver Alariba. I know the lions and lionesses will roar. Let's roar. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Oliver Lauba is a Nigerian banker and corporate business leader. He is the Group Managing Director and CEO of United Bank of Africa for Africa, one of Africa's leading financial services groups. Mr. Lauba holds a BSc and technology from Abia State University and Masters from University of Ibadan. Mr. Lauba's career in financial services spans almost 30 years after his short foray into academia at Abia State University. He started his banking career with Diamond Bank PLC, now Access Bank, where he worked from 1993 to 1997 before joining Standard Trust Bank, now United Bank for Africa PLC, as a pioneer staffer in 1997. Rising through the ranks in UBA Group, he has served as country CEO for UBA Ghana, regional CEO UBA Anglophone subsidiaries, and executive director East Bank Nigeria. In 2021, Mr. Lauba was appointed as Group Deputy Managing Director, UBA Africa, covering subsidiaries in 19 African countries. As DMD CEO UBA Africa, UBA won the Bankers Award for African Bank of the Year 2021 in 13 countries in Nigeria. And in August 2022, Mr. Oliver Alauba was appointed the Group Managing Director of United Bank of Africa. Mr. Oliver Alauba is a honorary, you can clap for him, He's a honorary senior member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and he has been a strong supporter of the Institute. By the special grace of God, he will be the chairman of the 17th Banking Annual Conference of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in 2024. Mr. Lauba is married to Dr. Nkiruka Alauba, and they are all blessed with lovely children. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished members, it is my honor and privilege to present to you an eminent member of the banking industry, a charismatic and visionary leader, a dynamo, a man with unwavering positivity, a man with the Midas touch, passionate about building and developing human capacity. I present to you Mr. Oliver Alauba, HCIB, for the award of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you very much. We'll be seated. Distinguished audience, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, I now humbly invite our next awardee, the GMD CEO, Access Bank PLC, Mr. Roosevelt Ogbonna, HCIB. Mr. Roosevelt Ogbonna is the Group Managing Director of Access Bank PLC. Prior to his appointment, he served as the Group Managing Director and Executive Director of Wholesale Banking Division of the bank. He has over 20 years experience in banking industry, spanning the various areas of treasury, commercial, corporate, and investment banking. He has a bachelor's degree in banking and finance from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He is a fellow of the Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, a CFA charter holder, and an alumnus of Harvard University's Business School and Kennedy School of Government. He holds a master's degree in business administration from the Institute of Management Development, IMD, and an executive master's degree in business administration from Geelong Graduate School of Business. In 2015, he was selected as one of the Institute of International Finance, IIF Future Global Leaders. Mr. Ogbonna sits on the board of several institutions, including Access Corporation, Access Bank PLC, Access Bank UK, Access Bank Zambia, African Finance Corporation, Central Securities Clearing System PLC, Shared Agent Network Facilities. He's also a member of a high-level advisory committee on women's economic empowerment. I thought women would clap for the man who's empowering them. He is a strong supporter of the Chartered Institute Bankers of Nigeria, and it is on record that Access Bank PLC has produced the largest number of associates of the institute in the last 5 years. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you a banker par excellence, an inspiring and motivational leader, a master strategist, a mentor to young bankers and accomplished professionals, and a committed member of the Institute, Mr. Roosevelt Ogbonna, HCIB, for the award of Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Our next awardee is the MD/CEO of Premium Trust Bank. May I request Mr. Emmanuel Emefiele, CON, to please be upstanding. Mr. Emmanuel Emefiele is an accomplished banker with over 30 years experience, spanning middle and senior management level within operations, treasury, marketing functions since 1992. He is an alumnus of the prestigious Harvard Business School, where he graduated from GAP and AMP programs, the Washington Business School, Pennsylvania, and INSEAD. Mr. Emefiele currently sits on the board of one of Nigeria's national commercial bank, Premium Trust Bank, as founder and managing director, CEO, leading it to record-breaking feats in just over a year of operations. The bank has received the Most Innovative Bank of the Year Award 2022, the Nigeria's Fastest Growing Bank 2022, Bank of the Year 2022 Sports Development. Please let's appreciate this great man. Other awards they have received in 1 year include the CEO in the Exceptional CEO in the Guidance 2022 Annual CEO Series, 50 value-driven CEOs of excellence that powered Nigeria economic growth in 2022. He is a contemporary MD CEO that envisions Premium Trust Bank as one of Nigeria's leading digital banks in the next few years. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my singular honor and privilege to present to you a distinguished member of the banking industry, a transformational leader, a pace setter, a quintessential banker, and a paragon of excellence. Mr. Emmanuel Emefiele, CON, for the award of Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Mr. President, our next awardee is the former acting managing director, CEO of Bank of Industry and founder, CEO of WBL Development Advisors Limited, Dr. Waheed Olagunju, HCIB. Dr. Olagunju's profile is 4 pages, and so I will abridge. Dr. Olagunju is the immediate past acting managing director, CEO of Bank of Industry. In the course of his 29 years career, between 1990 and 2019, he headed 5 different departments and directorates, including operating as the bank's longest serving company secretary for 16 years. Dr. Olagunju began his banking profession with BOI's precursor institutions, the Nigerian Industrial Development Bank, in 1990. Under his watch as the acting MD CEO between 2016 and 2017, BOI recorded remarkable improvements that culminated in the bank's ratings by international domestic rating agencies being upgraded and affirmed by 2026. while Moody assigned BOI AA1 in 2016, up from BA3 in 2015. In the early years, Dr. Olagudu coordinated institutional and management study of BOI that was undertaken between 2004 and 2005. Dr. Olagudu floated WVL Development Advisors Limited to enable him continue deploying his vast experience, knowledge, and expertise to leaders of national and subnational governments across the country. Dr. Olagudu is one of the leading development practitioners and scholars in an alumnus of the University of Lagos. Mr. President, distinguished guests, I have the singular honor of presenting to you a consummate banker with sterling footprints in the financial services landscape, a dynamic manager of men and resources, vibrant and enterprising professional, Dr. Waheed Olagudu, HCID. Mr. President, distinguished guests, our next awardee is the founder, CEO of Air Peace Nigeria, Barrister Alan Oyema, CON, Peace in the Sky. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Barrister Alan Oyema is a pan-Nigerian and thoroughbred businessman with strong nationalistic orientation. He has, please clap for him, nationalistic leaders are in. He has a profound interest in peace advocacy. No wonder he founded Air Peace. Youth empowerment, aviation, legal practice, and real estate investment. He is an ambassador of the One Nigeria project with a track record of deploying resources to key initiatives for promoting peaceful coexistence and productively engaging the Nigerian youth. Despite his huge success in legal practice and business, Mr. Oyema was not quite satisfied. He put all aside for his passion for peace advocacy by establishing Foundation for Ethnic Harmony in Nigeria as a platform to organize his peace efforts across Nigeria. Today, Barrister Alan Oyema is being recognized for his contribution to the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, the banking industry, and the economy at large. You will recall that he initiated the evacuation of many Nigerians abroad during the COVID-19 era. He spearheaded the evacuation of Nigerians trapped in South Africa during the xenophobic attack in 2019. He facilitated the recent evacuation of Nigerians from the war-torn Sudan. Let's give this gentleman a round of applause. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to present to you this outstanding and innovative lawyer, an accomplished professional, a committed stakeholder of the Institute, a philanthropist, a role model to young aspiring professionals, Barrister Alan Oyema, for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is the managing partner, Green World Capital, and former MD CEO of Union Bank of Nigeria PLC. Mr. Augustine Chukwuemeka, wise men come from the East. Mr. Okonkwo Emeka Chukwuemeka is the managing director of Green World Capital Limited, an investment banking and asset management firm based in Lagos. He has over 3 years of experience working in the financial services industry and brings on board skills garnered across corporate and investment banking, corporate finance, project finance, risk management. Before founding Green World Capital, he was the group managing director of Union Bank of Nigeria PLC, including Union Bank UK, where he served on the board for about 9 years. He foresaw the transformation of the bank's investment banking and corporate finance function into a world-class unit that delivered many landmark transactions. Mr. Okonkwo had a stint with Citibank and for over 23 years worked in Citibank. He is a graduate of civil engineering from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and he holds a master's in engineering management from the University of Lagos. He has attended several leadership training programs, home and abroad, in Europe, in USA, and in Asia. He has been honored for his contribution, numerous, to the institute, the banking industry, and the economy at large. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege one more time to present to you this outstanding and transformational banker, a renowned technologist and an engineer turned banker, an accomplished professional, a man with a Midas touch, Mr. Emeka Chukwuemeka Okonkwo, for the award of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Mr. President, our next awardee is an amazing, the GMD CEO of Future View Group. Please join me in celebrating Mrs. Elizabeth Ebi. Mrs. Ebi is the Group Managing Director of Future View Nigeria Services Limited. She is a seasoned investment banker of high repute and integrity. She is the first female stockbroker licensed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Member of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, and a two-time member of the Technical Committee on National Council on privatization. She had academic foundation in business and management studies with first-class degree in business and health administration. She is a graduate of the International Banking Summer School, Cambridge, UK, and has over the years acquired in-depth broad knowledge, as well as extensive professional experience in finance, investment management, both in Nigeria and US money and capital markets. Her meritorious career has taken her through reputable organizations like Chase Merchant Bank, where she rose to become the executive director, making her a quintessential investment banker and financial services expert. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am highly delighted to present to you a seasoned stockbroker and banker, an extraordinary asset manager, a lifelong learner, and an accomplished woman with an eloquent and inspiring leader and enigma, Mrs. Elizabeth Ebi, for the award of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is the former ED Corporate Banking of Sterling Bank, Old Nile Merchant Bank, Mr. Galba Yusuf Imam. Malam Gabra Imam holds Bachelor of Degree Honors in Sociology from Ahmadu Bello University Zaria and a Master's of Social Science degree from Birmingham University, United Kingdom. He also obtained a postgraduate diploma in agricultural development from Imperial College, University, London. His work experience spans over 37 years, beginning with the Kano Civil Service as Executive Administrative Officer. He has worked in several organizations, Continental Merchant Bank. He joined International Bank Limited in 1996 as Deputy General Manager in charge of operations, corporate banking, risk management, branch supervision, and in 2002, he joined the board of Nile Bank PLC, now Sterling Bank, as non-executive director and became executive director in 2003. Malam Imam retired from the bank in August 2011, having attained retirement age. He has contributed immensely and has served on various boards of institutions, including the board of EcoBank Limited, BDT Telecommunications, Board of Electricity Distribution Company Limited of Kaduna. He has served as non-executive director of Nigerian Stock Exchange, HPS and Associates, and a host of other institutions, including being the president of Kano Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, I am highly delighted to present to you a seasoned banker, a risk manager, dynamic, resourceful, and an outstanding strategist, Malam Garba Yusuf Imam, for the award of the Honorable Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our next awardee is no other than the founder, Chairman, LACO Microfinance Bank Limited, Dr. Godwin Emida Mosley, NCIB. Dr. Godwin is an acknowledged microfinance practitioner who has equally applied the concept of social enterprise to successfully build a number of enterprises that addresses the needs of individuals and businesses at the bottom end of the society. Let's appreciate him. In the late 80s, he founded Lift Above Poverty Organization, LACO, a pro-poor development organization as a non-governmental response to the spike in the level of poverty after the adoption of the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP. He began lending 100 naira each to 3 members of his parish in Ogwachukwu, Delta State. That's the story of the beginning. He has grown LACO as a human development enterprise into a number of mutually reinforcing institutions in microfinance, microinsurance, micro-leasing, healthcare, and education in Nigeria and beyond, with over 10,000 full-time staff. He has led LACO to set up LACO Microfinance Bank Limited in Nigeria, LACO Microfinance Company Limited in Sierra Leone as a pioneering managing director of LACO Microfinance Bank. He has grew the bank's branch network across 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory, and he stepped down in June 2020 as the MD. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Giamose has supported the Institute in several ways, the industry in the area of financial inclusion, and he has passed the microfinance certification examination of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. He has attained a number of executive educational programs, and today he is being honored for his outstanding contribution as an entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur in Africa. And he has won several awards, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President and Chairman of Council, I have the singular honor of presenting to you an eminent member of the banking industry, an all-rounder, a thought leader, the builder, and the game changer, a great mentor and grandfather of the microfinance industry, Dr. Godwin Egiamuse, for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is the founder Spectrum Group and the non-executive director of Greenwich Merchant Bank. May I humbly call on Mr. Anselm Orazulike, HCIB, to please be upstanding. So, Mr. President, permit me to also abridge this citation. It's also about 4 pages. Mr. Orazulike graduated from the famous University of Nigeria, Nsukka. How many people now? Let's appreciate him. We have a lot of Nsukka graduates here today. In BSc Finance with a second class upper division and a master's degree from Business Administration in Finance from the University of Lagos. He has approximately 34 years of working experience, out of which 24 years were spent in banking. And his experience in this industry covers the entire spectrum of banking, such as investment banking, development banking, corporate banking, commercial banking, retail banking, branch banking, public sector, treasury, money market, risk management. Let's appreciate him. He has done everything in banking. He has served at the top executive management level of various institutions in the following banks: FSB International Bank, now Fidelity Bank; Equatorial Trust Bank, now Sterling Bank. He voluntarily left the banking industry in late 2009 to set up the Spectrum Group. He's been recognized today for the leadership role he has played in the financial services industry. He has produced many giants who today are leaders of the banking industry. Too numerous to mention. In the interactive session this morning, we showed a lot of giants who came up under his tutelage. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you a banker by excellence, an inspiring and motivational leader, a charismatic and visionary leader, a go-getter and industries changer, Mr. Anselm Orazulike, for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next awardee is the CEO, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, PLC NIBS, Mr. Premier Oyiwo, CIB. The Premier Oyiwo is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, PLC, NIBS. He is a seasoned banking professional with over 2.5 decades of multifunctional and international experience in banking across multiple institutions. Mr. Oyiwo has been described as a strategic process enabler with vast experience in process automation, centralization, payment system implementation, security, and information technology. Before his appointment at NIBS, Mr. Oyiwo was the Executive Director, Operations and Technology at Keystone Bank. He has also served as Director, Head of Operation IT, and other similar capacities. With a broad and deep understanding of business process automation, digital financial services, and the operations information technology sector in the Nigerian banking industry, Premier provides strategic direction in various capacities and oversees the execution of mandates of NABs. He is a strong supporter of the Institute and has been a facilitator at the Institute's level program for over 2 decades. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you a principal change agent in the banking industry, a digital transformation enthusiast, a strategic process enabler, a digital payment expert, a banker by excellence, a Mr. Premier, we want HCIB for the award of the honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Thank you. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is the Associate Dean and Professor of Information Systems, Lagos Business School, Professor Olayinka David West. Professor Olayinka David West is an esteemed academic and a thought leader renowned for her expertise in the intersection of business management and technology. With an illustrious career spanning several decades in IT and financial services, she has made significant contributions to academia, research, and advancement of business practices through her insightful analysis and strategic thinking. Please appreciate her. Professor David West is the Associate Dean at the Lagos Business School. She is a passionate advocate of digital transformation and inclusive finance. She has held critical positions at prestigious institutions, at LBS, and she has held so many positions in the banking industry in the area of financial technology. Since 2015, she has led the Sustainable and Inclusive Digital Financial Services Initiative, a research and advocacy initiative dedicated to enhancing financial inclusion in Nigeria. Professor David West holds advanced business administration and technology management qualification from renowned institutions. Our academic journey has been marked by a commitment to continuous learning and a passion for exploring the ever-evolving dynamics of business technology. She has expert certification in financial inclusion, policy, and digital money. She mentors young women in STEM. She was featured in the Tech Women of Lagos exhibition, listed among the leading women in Nigeria financial technology industry, and profiled on FinTech Times as a leading financial inclusion expert in Africa. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to present to you an exemplary public policy administrator, a world-class technologist, a role model, and a trainer by excellence, a woman who has elevated her craft to the zenith of uncommon freshness and originality. Professor Mrs. Olayinka David West, for the conferment of the Award of Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is also from the academia, Professor of Banking and Finance and Economic Development at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Professor Josephat Uchechukwu Joe Owumere, HCIB. Professor Owumere is an economist, banking and finance expert, and strategist. He is a professor of banking and finance, economic development at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Enugu campus. Professor Owumere is currently the director, UNN Business School, University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. Professor Owumere is a consummate, versatile, and influential intellectual. He has been a practitioner in finance, management, marketing, research, strategy, and consultancy. He has banking experience spanning 12 years at the management level, in the Nigerian banking industry. He is versatile. He is a versatile researcher with over 145 publications, including books, chapters in books, and several articles in reputable local and high-impact international journals. He has consulted for governments and reputable local international institutions. He is a patron of the Enugu State chapter of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Nigeria. He has produced several scholars, over 70, and has supervised over 75 successful PhD doctoral theses. He is an external examiner and assessor for many universities. He was the 115th inaugural lecturer of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and his lecture was titled Financing Nigeria for Economic Development. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you this renowned professor of banking and finance, an erudite scholar, a man of impeccable character, a renowned author, and a role model to young bankers, young professionals, young academia, Professor J.U.J. Owumere, for the award of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations, sir. In recognition of the power of knowledge, we are yet conferring the award. Our next awardee, Mr. President, is also from the academia. Professor of Banking Law, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agowe, Professor Olusegun Oluyide. Professor Oluyide is a professor of banking law at the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ago, Iwoye. Professor Oluyide began his career in 1975. Okay. Professor Oluyide was born on October 2023, 1963. He had his primary and secondary education in Abeokuta, and then he had a brief stint as a clerk at First Bank Nigeria before gaining admission to Ogun State Polytechnic, now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. He gained admission to esteemed University of Lagos for his Bachelor of Law LLB degree, which he obtained in 1988, and was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1989, having passed the Nigerian Bar final examinations. Professor Oluyide thereafter worked as counsel and senior counsel, respectively, in reputable law firms of Odita Adebiyi and Co., Olaniwa Ajayi and Co., now OLP, and other firms. He joined the service of Olabisi Onabanjo in 1998, and through hard work and tenacity of purpose, rose through the ranks to become professor of law on October 1st, 2012. He is a consummate teacher. You can clap for him. Please make it clap aloud. He is a consummate teacher and researcher. Professor Oluyide has 98 publications to his credit in different reputable journals spread across the entire globe. Professor Oluyide is an erudite and amiable professor, and he has served in various capacities in the university, within and outside the university environment. The Professor Oluyide has won several awards and distinctions nationally and internationally, including the Teslim Olawale Elias Award, which is the highest award of excellence and distinction conferred on law teachers in Nigeria. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you this renowned professor of banking law, an ebullient scholar, highly sought after, a man of impeccable character, a social reformer, and a role model to young generation, Professor Olusegun Oluyide, for the award of the honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations, Bob. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, our next awardee is the President and founder of Vantage Advisory Canada. Truly entrenching the fact that CIBN is global. Mr. Kenneth Ahibinode has over 30 years experience in banking, in top management and broad positions. He started his banking career with Barclays Bank. He has traversed the merchant, investment, and commercial banking space. His exposure also includes collaboration with offshore banks, multilateral and continental institutions on structured finance and corresponding banking. He was the pioneer executive director of Fidelity Bank PLC, and he has served in various other capacities in Nigeria and on the African continent. Mr. Ahibinode led the restructuring of Reliance Telecommunications and Monarch Communications Limited. He served on the board of Swift Network Limited, a broadband service provider. He was the pioneer executive director in charge of strategy and risk management with Industrial and General Insurance PLC. He also served as a non-executive director on the board of NIC General Insurance Uganda and Snowara General Insurance Rwanda. He is the founder and a strategy and risk consulting firm, Vantage Advisory Canada, where his turnaround financial consulting strategy design and risk management skills have blossomed into key mandates to reposition the companies. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present to you a pace setter in the banking industry, a renowned strategist and risk manager, a global revenue assurance professional, a world-class financial consultant, a man of impeccable character, a social reformer, and a role model, Mr. Kenneth Ahibinode, for the honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this next award is a very special one, as announced by Mr. President in his speech earlier this day. This is a posthumous award and the very first one to be so presented by the Chartered Institute of Bankers in its 60 years of existence. This award is presented posthumous to late Professor Sunday Idowu Oladeji, Professor of Human Resource Economics, Statistics, and Development Planning of Bafemi Awolowo University. He is ably represented here today by his son-in-law, Dr. Olumide Adesina, a lecturer at the Redeemers University, Department of Mathematics and Statistics. Doctor, please come forward. In his mercy, late Professor Oladeji Sunday Idowu was born on June 21st, 1953, the first day of the week being Sunday, and that's why it was named Sunday. Late Professor Oladeji gained admission to Anglican Grammar School, Otoye Baju, and finished, from where he proceeded to and graduated as an economics graduate from University of Ibadan in 1973. He served in Niger State, Mina, and he taught at Ilobu Grammar School for some years in Ife, where he met his wife and later traveled to London in 1978 for his postgraduate studies. Professor Oladeji schooled at the London School of Economics, where he won scholarship and returned to Nigeria in 1979. He lived for integrity, impacting lives at various academic strata. He was the HOD Economics Department and Provost of the Postgraduate College of Obafemi Awolowo University. He took over the headship as the head PG School of University of Obafemi Awolowo University, and he lectured at the university in various capacities, including being the provost. Professor Oladeji served as an examiner of the institute in financial economics for 33 uninterrupted years. Please, let's appreciate him in absentia. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it is my honor and privilege to present for posthumous award the late Professor I present to you for posthumous award the late Professor Sunday Idowu Oladeji, a distinguished scholar in the field of human resource economics, statistics, and development planning, an ebullient intellectual who demonstrated an unwavering commitment to excellence. He was a social informer and a mentor and a world-class examiner for the posthumous award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Congratulations. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, distinguished guests, may I now respectfully invite all our honorary fellows to please stand and remain standing. Mr. President, this is the privilege we have once in a lifetime to direct your bosses, and they have no choice. You can now put on your stools eminently, and also now bring out your oath of affirmation. Distinguished audience, please watch as these great men and women take this oath of affirmation on their journey to becoming the honorary fellows of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. It is a historic moment, and we now take the oath of affirmation. I, please mention your names. As an honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, hereby affirm that I will respect, promote, and abide by the provisions of the Act, policies, rules, regulations, and guidelines of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, as well as adhere strictly to the code of conduct in the Nigerian banking industry, governing members of the institute and the banking profession. I pledge, with every sense of responsibility, to discharge my professional responsibilities with all sense of honesty, integrity, competence, and uprightness, and to do everything ethically possible to uplift the standards of bankers, the banking profession, and the banking industry at large. So help me God. The Chairman, Board of Fellows and Practice License, Professor Pius Olariwaju, PhD, FCIB. May I, Akim Rakio, HCIB, Registrar Chief Executive of CIBN, present to you these very distinguished individuals whose nomination for the award of the Honorary Fellowship of the Institute have been approved by the Governing Council for presentation to Mr. President and Chairman of Council for the conferment of Honorary Fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria.
Thank you, the Registrar, the President and Chairman of Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Ken Okpara, PhD, FCIB, Chairman of this August occasion, distinguished guests of honor, fellows, honorary senior members, associates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I, Professor Pius Oladejo, PhD, FCIB, on behalf of the Board of Fellows that are present here or in diaspora, present to these distinguished audience, this eminent member of the banking profession who have contributed immensely to the banking industry, the institute, and the profession in general for the conferment of honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, FCIB. Congratulations.
Conferment of honorary fellows. By the powers conferred on me by the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, I, Ken Okpara, PhD, FCIB, President and Chairman of Council, do hereby confer on you the honorary fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria with all rights, privileges, and obligations. A very big congratulations.
Congratulations. Honorary fellows, you now may be seated. I will now call on all the distinguished men on the top table to please support Mr. President as we present certificates and plaques to our distinguished honorary fellows. Same vein, I'd like to invite on stage members of the past presidents and Board of Fellows to please come up stage to celebrate and give honor to whom honor is due. All right, so may I now yes. I mean, Nigeria. Following Professor J.J. Wimere will be Professor Olide. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please let's be seated as we conclude this program in 5 minutes. Please be seated so we can conclude. Would like to invite on stage on behalf of the awardees to give a few comments. Please join me as I welcome on stage the Executive Director, NDIC, Mrs. Emily Osuji, FCIB. Please be seated, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We will wrap this event in the next 5 minutes. We thank you. Please let's appreciate Mrs. Osuji as she makes her way to the podium. Please let's appreciate her. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please be seated to listen to these remarks by our awardee as we close and we wind down this event this beautiful afternoon. Thank you. Distinguished fellows, please be seated for a moment. Thank you and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moraki, your registrar. Please, let's just have 1 minute quiet so we can close. We started very well this morning. I understand we have to take pictures with our friends and colleagues. The President and Chairman of Council, Ken Opara, PhD, FCIB. Distinguished council members. Can I use this phrase to say my fellow fellows? All the awardees, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me, I brief the protocol because I can see we are all very much in a hurry for the social aspect of this gathering. So permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Let me say how very honored, indeed very honored, I feel to be the one to bring you the appreciation of my fellow honorees for today's award. The CIBN is a world-acclaimed home of professionals. It is therefore very heartwarming for me and my fellow awardees to be among you, the very distinguished men and women, heavyweights in the banking industry, and indeed corporate Nigeria. I have the mandate of my fellow honorees to say thank you to our highly revered institute for considering us worthy of your trust and honor. These awards today represent two key things in our lives. And I believe I'm speaking on behalf of every awardee in this state. Two key things: honor and responsibility. I want to assure you, the Council of Members, our President, and everyone associated with this great institute, that on behalf of all of us, your honor will be preserved. Above all, we shall work hard to support you to keep the flag of this great institute flying. So on behalf of all of us, I say a very big thank you, and I'm glad we bless this great institute as it continues to set the place in our financial sector and indeed the whole world. So on this premise, I say thank you, and thank you on behalf of every awardee today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I, on this note, now invite all the distinguished honorary fellows to please step up stage for a group photograph with the President and Chairman of Council. Mr. President, distinguished Senator, First Vice President, Second Vice President, please step up. All the awardees will flank you on the left and on the right. Distinguished honorary fellows, please step up the podium for a group photograph. Our past presidents to please also join them for this very memorable picture. Honorary fellows invested today, please step up the podium for a group photograph. Okay. So, all right. So because it's a fairly large, we will use the staircase here. So we can step, we'll want, just like that. The media prefers it like that. You can get them.
The council members here.
Okay. So the president and chairman of council, sir, please come. The office holders. Yeah, yeah. First step. No, it's not. Okay. The past presidents, please step. You're distinguished senator, please come. The honorees will be on the stage. So we'll do that way. Okay, so the honorees will be on the stage. There's space here. Dr. Aino, please, there's space in front for you here. Here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, are you able to capture like that? Okay. The iconic 22nd President and Chairman of Council of Agriculture Institute, Dr. Ken Okpara FCIB, would like to thank you very much for providing this platform for us to have this investiture ceremony this afternoon. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you are happy and excited about all that has happened today, please let's give the President a warm round of applause. He is the one that facilitated this program this beautiful afternoon. And the same way, I'd like to thank and appreciate our special guest of honor, distinguished Senator Anthony Yaro, HCIB. Thank you, sir, for your esteemed presence at this occasion. We do not take it lightly. We appreciate you for supporting your constituency and remembering the Chartered Institute of Bankers. God bless you, sir. I'd like to appreciate the office holders ably led by the Chairman of the Board of Fellows and the First Vice President, Professor Pius Olariyaju. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. I'd like to extend our warm appreciation to the Second Vice President, Mr. Dele Alabi, FCIB. It's been a pleasure sitting with you and having you at this function today. Similarly, we'd like to extend warm regards to the amazing National Treasurer who's been with us on the virtual platform, Mrs. Mojisola Bakari, as CEO. I cannot but thank all our fathers, the past presidents who are here today in their number, Mr. Femi Ekudayo, FCIB, and his beautiful wife that is here, Mrs. Olubumi Ekudayo. We thank you. Thank you for your esteemed presence. We thank Mazio Sike Unegu. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you very much for making out to be here. We extend warm regards to Professor Segun Ajibola, FCIB. Thank you and God bless you for coming. We thank Dr. Segun Aino, FCIB OFR. Thank you for your presence. Professor Segun Ajibola, Dr. Uche Messiah FCIB MNI, and indeed Dr. Bayo Williams FCIB. We thank you. We thank indeed all our honorees, all the fellows, honorary fellows, and everyone here present today.
Thank you.
I also like to recognize the presence and appreciate Professor Wole Adewumi, FCIB. Daddy, we appreciate you. Help me celebrate him wherever he is in the auditorium. Thank you and God bless you indeed. We thank our guest speaker, Professor Nana. Thank you for that insightful presentation. We thank you. We thank you and God bless you. We'd like to thank everyone who has made it here, the distinguished members of the Governing Council. Every one of you, we thank you, Dr. Ghana, Mrs. Ojo, Mrs. Omitiri and Dr. Shegun Shadare. Thank you and God bless you. We appreciate you. We thank all our fellows, associates, honorary senior members, members of the industry, captains of the industry, everyone here, guests and family of the universities, we thank you. We thank the management and staff of CIBN. Thank you for putting this together. Gentlemen of the press, we thank you. Celebrate them. They did a yeoman's job. We thank the police band. You have done very good. Thank all our sponsors who have sponsored this event. Thank you and thank you and God bless you. We thank all gentlemen of the press. God bless you. In the words of Henry Frank Camille, thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude, and gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. In our DNA at CIBN is the culture of gratitude. And so I want you at this point to help me and turn to your left. Help me thank someone. Thank you for making a date with us. Thank you and thank you and thank you. Thank 7 people. I thank the country out today. Thank 7 people. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Thank you. We now humbly call on the managing director of NDIC, Mr. Azambolo, to please close us in prayer, and then we'll take the national anthem and CIBN anthem. Thank you very much. CEO of NDIC, Mr. Azambolo, FCIB. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Let us pray. We thank God for taking charge of these proceedings and bringing us here. We thank Him for guiding us. As we leave this place, we pray that may He continue to protect us, guide us in whatever we do. Amen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for that prayer. May we please,
I'd like to call on Prince AK, MD of Conga. MD of Conga, please step onto the podium. We'd like to see you before you step out of the auditorium. Prince AK, MD Conga, please step up to the podium before you leave. We now take, and I hand over to Mr. Oluyade.
can we have the CIBN anthem, please?
CIBN anthem followed by the national anthem as we close this ceremony. Make it louder.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's bye from here. Honorees, please step upstairs for your lunch. And at this point, I want to say thank you again to everyone. It's goodbye. Odigba. Kamisia. Tonalafia. Bye.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, As we depart this event, we thank you for making it a date with us. Please connect with us on our social media handles